Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Educate community. If it's your first time here, I'm Rebecca Simons, and this is the channel where we discuss all things EdTech. Today, we're going to be exploring a tool that has been making big waves in the educational community, FigJam. Now, if you haven't heard of FigJam before, it is a collaborative digital whiteboard. And I'm not going to lie, when I first heard about this tool, I initially just placed it on my maybe later shelf. And we've all been there, right? With so many tools and so little time, it can be hard to buy into learning a new platform just because. But then something big happened. Google announced that they were going to be sunsetting their collaboration tool, Jamboard, by the end of 2024. At the same time, Google also endorsed several platforms as replacements for Jamboard, one of which was FigJam. So I dusted it off my maybe later shelf, and after several months of using it, all I can say is I wish I had tried it sooner. In fact, the more I use it, the more I fall in love with it. So today we're going to talk about why I feel like Jamboard is worth adding to your EdTech toolkit, how you can sign up for a free Educator account, a detailed exploration of FigJam's tools and features, and finally, how you can move all of your Jamboard files over so you don't lose any of your hard work. Everything's going to be timestamped in the description down below, so feel free to jump around to whatever section interests you the most. So let's kick things off with why FigJam is a tool you don't want to miss out on. Number one, FigJam is 100% free for educators and students. All you need to do is verify your educator status and you will gain access to everything. And from what I've read, Figma is committed to maintaining this free status, unlike many platforms that have begun to hide their best features behind paywalls. So I really love that their company is committed to making learning equitable. Number two, it can be used by students of any age. There are two different paths Figma offers for using FigJam with students. First, teachers and students who are over 13 years old can get started on their own by creating an account and verifying their education status. The second path is if you want to use Figma with students who are under 13 years old. To be COPA compliant, your school simply needs to reach out and sign Figma's terms of use for schools. To get this process started, you can head over to figma.com/jamboard-edu and click on the button that says Bring FigJam to your school. Number three, when you create an account, you get access to both Figma, an industry standard design tool, and FigJam, which is the collaborative digital whiteboard portion. This tool is used by numerous companies, including Fortune 500s, which means not only are you providing your students with that real-world experience of working collaboratively, but it's also taking place in a tool that they could be using when they join the workforce. And finally, maybe most importantly, number four, it's super easy to use. Whether you are using one of FigJam's amazing educational templates or you're creating your own, FigJam is intuitive and you can be ready to use it with your students in no time. All right, let's walk through creating your FigJam account. Start by heading over to figma.com and hit Get Started for free. You'll need an account before you can verify your educator status. I always opt for Continue with Google for an easy sign up because it's just one less password to remember. You'll be presented with a series of questions such as name, type of work, and who you collaborate with. When you reach the plan screen, look for the option Verify Your Status right under the professional plan. This will take you to the education verification form. Once you fill it out, you're in. The next step is to click on the black button that says Go to Figma. At this point, you should be looking at the Figma homepage. On the left, you'll see a notification that confirms you've been verified. This is where you can upgrade your team for free. Just click on Choose Team and select your listed team. By signing up for a Figma account, not only do you get access to FigJam, but you also get access to Figma's design tool. We might dive into this topic in a later video, but today everything we're talking about is going to focus on FigJam. Let's start by taking a look at the home screen. As we dive in, you might find that it feels familiar, especially if you use Google Drive. The similarities between Drive and Figma's home screen made learning how to navigate it incredibly intuitive. We're going to walk through all the different pieces of the home screen, starting with teams. Think of a team as the equivalent of a shared drive. Just like in Google, you can add members to your team and control whether they can edit or just view. To manage your team members, click on your team name. Then in the upper right corner, there's an invite button for adding members by email or with a shared link. If you ever need to change a team member status, simply click on the member icon next to the invite button. Next, let's talk about projects. Figma projects are the equivalent of files or folders in Drive and can help you stay organized. To set up a project, click the plus icon next to your team name or use the new project button inside your team view. Drafts is your personal workspace in Figma. This is similar to My Drive in Google. By default, any new jams you create are going to be saved here, remaining private until you choose to share them or move them into your shared drive under a specific project. You can view these files in a grid with a large preview or in a list view with a smaller preview, just like in Drive. Figma also gives you a variety of options for quickly finding specific files or projects. Up at the top, you'll see the search bar, which allows you to search by file name, project name, or even by collaborator. Recents is going to be similar to the home view in Google Drive, and it's going to show all the files that you've recently worked on. And finally, you have favorites. This allows you to bookmark or star frequently used files and projects for easy access. Simply click on the star in the upper right corner of a project card. Now let's go take a look at the different ways you can create a new FigJam. Just like in Google, there are multiple ways you can go about this. The first option is to create from the home screen. When you type in Figma.com, by default, you're going to be taken to Recents. And the simplest way to create from here is to click on the purple plus FigJam board button located in the upper right corner. This action is going to create a blank canvas in your Drafts folder. Now remember, your work in Drafts is not immediately visible to your team, which gives you space to work on your ideas before sharing. The second way to create is from within a project. If you want your jam to be accessible within a project right away, simply open the desired project folder, then click on the same purple Create button. Not only is your jam now automatically stored under this project, but it's also immediately visible to all of the project members. Finally, the quickest option is to create by using the .new shortcut. Simply type figjam.new into the Omnibox, and a new jam will be created in Drafts. Now, personally, I'm partial to the .new shortcut because it's already my go-to for Google Workspace, but you have the freedom to choose the option that's going to work best for your needs and your workflow. Once you've created your jams, managing them is really straightforward. For actions like renaming, moving, sharing, or deleting, all you have to do is simply right-click on your file. But remember, you don't always have to start with a blank slate. FigJam not only has amazing templates with a large selection specifically for education, but they also have an AI design tool to help you bring your ideas to life. You can access the AI design tool and templates under the recent view or an individual project folder. Simply start by typing out your idea to get help building from AI, or click Browse Templates to see if what you want already exists. Under templates, you can filter by activity or by role. Personally, I always start by clicking on the Student Educator section. I love that all of the templates are customizable because it provides you with a great starting point that can quickly be modified to meet your needs. Honestly, I've also learned a lot about creating in FigJam and how to use the different tools simply by opening the templates and playing around with them. It's just really helpful for conceptualizing what's possible. All right, now that we know how to create a new FigJam, let's get familiar with our new workspace, starting with the menu across the top. When you open a new FigJam, it's good to get in the habit of naming your file and organizing it right away, just like you would in Drive. The file name is located in the top middle of your canvas. To change it, simply click on the name and start typing. The file's location will be listed to the left of the title. Remember, by default, FigJams are added to drafts. Moving your file to a project or a folder can help keep your workspace organized. To move your file, simply click on the drop-down arrow to the right of the name and select Move to Project. Now that we've got our file named and organized, let's walk through the other features in the top menu bar. In the upper right corner is the main menu icon. This houses your traditional file menu options and is also a quick way to navigate back to the home screen. Next, there's the option to create a new file. To the right of that, you can click to open 3 features I am absolutely in love with: timer, music, and voting. You can set the timer for any length of time and it's visible to everyone within your jam. The music option is perfect for putting on some background music while giving students some think time. And the voting tool, it's a game changer for providing opportunities for students to share their voice. You can determine how many votes each person will get, and when voting concludes, it will automatically tally them. Next, we have the icons for the AI designer, which is in beta, templates, and comments. When you open a brand new file, the AI designer and templates are visible on the left. These options disappear once you start adding content, but you can quickly open them back up simply by clicking on the icons at the top. Toward the upper right, you'll see the avatars of everyone who's currently in your FigJam. We'll explore the powers behind this feature a little later on. Next is the purple Share button, which, just like Drive, allows you to manage who has access to your file and their permission level, can view, or can edit. You can invite collaborators directly by typing in their email or give broader access by allowing anyone with a link to join. You can also add an additional layer of security by requiring a password if collaborators are using a link to join the file. The Share button also houses 2 unique features: Start an Open Session and Publish to Community. Start an Open Session creates a 24-hour link allowing anyone with the link to collaborate in your file without needing a FigJam account. I do want to note that this option is not visible if your file is stored under drafts. It has to have been moved to a project file. Publishing is the perfect way to share your file as a template with the wider FigJam community. This is not only going to allow others to view your canvas, but duplicate it as well. Let's shift our focus to the bottom of the canvas where the toolbar and zoom controls are located. These are the tools you are going to use the most in FigJam. In this section, we're going to be covering the basics, really honing in on navigation and how to use all the different tools. For those of you who are really wanting a deeper dive into features like widgets and plugins or maybe advanced tips and tricks, be sure to check out part 2 of this series. Before we move on, I do want to note that a lot of the content examples I'm going to use with you today were created by the Figma team and can be found under the template section. One of the most important concepts to figure out in FigJam is zooming. FigJam's canvas is limitless, which means you're not restricted to the size of a traditional page or slide. Zooming in allows you to view or work on a specific section, while zooming out gives you an overview of the canvas. If you're using a trackpad, zooming is intuitive. Just pull apart or pinch together 2 fingers. If you're a mouse user, you can zoom using the plus and minus slider in the bottom left, or by holding down the control key while scrolling. If you're a fan of keyboard shortcuts, you can also use the plus and minus keys. FigJam has 2 main tools for interacting with your canvas: the select tool, or the arrow icon, and the hand tool. The select tool is for interacting or moving around content, while the hand tool is for navigation, allowing you to move around your canvas without disturbing your content. Getting used to switching between the 2 tools can initially be a little tricky. I found the easiest method is to hold down the space bar. This temporarily activates the hand tool, and as soon as you let go, it reverts back to the select tool. If you prefer keyboard shortcuts, H activates the hand tool and V activates select. If you ever forget the shortcuts, simply hover over the icon for a refresher. Before we dive into each specific tool, let's learn about some common features they share. To use any tool, simply click to activate it, then click on the canvas where you'd like to use it. Most elements you add are going to have a customization menu, which is going to appear when you select the element. When you have a tool activated, to exit, simply press Escape or select a new tool. And as you're learning how to navigate FigJam, don't worry about making mistakes. Control-Z or Command-Z on a Mac is your quick fix to undo any action. The first group of tools we're going to look at are for drawing and marking up your canvas. I've added a simple word problem to help showcase how you can use these tools. The default tool is going to be the marker, which allows you to free draw directly on your canvas. To select the marker, you can click on it like I just did, or you can press the M key to activate this tool. When you select the marker, you have the option to adjust the line thickness between thick and thin, as well as the color, including selecting a custom color. I particularly love that FigJam has the eyedropper feature, which means you can pick up the exact color from anywhere on your canvas. All right, I just used the marker to add a quick illustration to represent our math problem. And once you have a drawing on your canvas, you can click on it to bring up a customization menu. This is going to allow you to adjust the color or adjust the line thickness. Next, we have the highlighter, which is similar to the marker, except that it's semi-transparent. If you like keyboard shortcuts, you can activate this tool by using Shift-M. Like the marker, you can customize the line thickness and the color. Now, you aren't going to have custom colors like you did for the marker, but you can darken up a color by highlighting over the area multiple times. Now, it can be a little challenging to draw a straight line. So if you're going for precision, you can hold down the Shift key, then draw, which is going to give you a perfectly straight line. Just like the marker, when you click on one of your highlights, you get the customization menu, which allows you to change the color as well as the thickness. You can also click and drag to shorten or lengthen your highlight. I want you to spend a moment thinking about the possibilities these tools open up in your classroom. As a former reading teacher, I can already picture having my students use these tools to identify text evidence or different types of figurative language, then using arrows and text boxes to annotate their interpretations on the side. I used to have to try to do these types of activities in docs or slides, and it worked, but it was kind of clunky. So I get really excited thinking about all the creative ways you could use these tools. Now let's talk about washi tape. While I haven't come up with a way to use washi tape pedagogically yet, it can be used to add a fun visual element to your canvas. I've also found that it's useful to help divide my content up into sections. There are a variety of patterns to choose from, and once you've added washi tape to your canvas, you can simply click on it and use the customization menu to switch out your pattern. You also have the option to upload a custom image to create personalized washi tape. One of the most popular ideas I've seen is uploading a picture of yourself and creating washi tape with your face on it. Finally, you have the eraser tool. Now, personally, I don't use this tool as much. I tend to simply use the select tool, click on the element I want to remove, and hit the delete key. If you or your students are new to FigJam, then I would suggest sticky notes as an entry point. They're incredibly user-friendly, and it's a great way to make sure that you're engaging every single student in your classroom. To create a sticky note, you'll simply click on the icon in the toolbar or press S on your keyboard. Select a color, then click anywhere on the canvas to place it. Sticky notes are going to come in two sizes. The default is a square, which you see here, but you can also click and drag from the sides to transform it into a rectangle, which is perfect for longer thoughts or comments. Clicking on a sticky note will open the customization menu where you can change the color of your sticky, the font style, the font size, add rich text formatting, a bullet point, or even turn your text into a hyperlink. One of my favorite features, though, is the automatic authorship attribution. Each sticky note will have the creator's name added in the bottom left-hand corner. It can easily be hidden by clicking on the quill icon, but one of the reasons I love this feature so much is that it promotes accountability without the hassle of trying to remind your students to put their name on their work. If you want to quickly add more than one sticky, simply hover over the blue dots that appear in the 4 cardinal directions and click on the plus icon. You can also duplicate a sticky note by selecting it and pressing the keyboard shortcut Control-D. If I need to create stickies in bulk, maybe I want to have enough for every student in my class ahead of time, I exclusively use Control-D to duplicate. All I need to do is click and drag to select multiple stickies, press Control-D, move them, then press Control-D again. And you can see that they've automatically snapped below and have kept the spacing that I added before. I can make this go even faster by highlighting the 6 sticky notes I have, pressing Control-D, and now I have 12. One of the reasons I love sticky notes is that within seconds, you can have a window into your class's collective thinking. They've got the opportunity to practice skills like working in a collaborative space and how to provide positive feedback using FigJam's collaboration tool like stamps, comments, and emotes. The days when we would ask a question and only have time to hear from a couple students are gone. Tools like sticky notes not only amplify student voices in our classroom, but they also guarantee that 100% of our students have the opportunity to actively participate and engage. Next up are connectors, shapes, and mind maps. Now, connectors are great for showing relationships between ideas, creating a dividing line between content, or simply organizing the flow of your canvas. There are two types of connectors, elbowed and straight line. Elbowed connectors can wrap around objects and create indirect paths, while straight lines create a direct path between elements. To add a connector, click on the shape category, then select the type of line you want to add. You can also use the keyboard shortcut X for elbowed or L for straight. Then simply click and drag your cursor to the objects you want to connect. Connectors will snap to shapes and stickies, which is great because if you move the element around the canvas, the connector is going to come with it. However, if you want to move a connector that's attached to an object, you're going to need to detach it first. Start by clicking and dragging the start and end points away from the object. Then you can move the connector to a new location. Once a connector has been added to your canvas, you can click on it to customize the line color, weight, and style between solid and dashed. You can also add text to a connector. Simply double click on the line or click the text icon in the customization menu. If your connector is long enough, you can drag the text anywhere along it. In a classroom, these connectors could be used for a variety of activities. They are perfect for brainstorming for writing, creating flowcharts, sequencing events in a story, or illustrating connections between vocabulary for a unit. They also offer a unique way to track student progress. As I've played around in FigJam, I came up with the idea for a student status tracker. Here you can see that there are 3 parts to this assignment. Red shows that part 1 is past due. Each student has their own line. It would have student names in here, obviously. But as students complete the different parts, they could then drag their name along the line to visually reflect their status on a task or project. Next up are shapes. Just like the marker and the highlighter tool, you can select a color for your shape or set a custom color. For all my keyboard shortcut lovers, you can quickly access the more common shapes like a rectangle or a circle with R for rectangle or O for circle. Now, once we add a shape to our canvas, we can quickly resize it by clicking and dragging from the corners. Now you might notice that my circle is no longer looking like a circle, so I can hold down Shift to enlarge my shape proportionally. Shapes can also be rotated by hovering near a corner. When you see this curved icon, simply click and drag in the desired direction. When I click on a shape, the customization menu is going to appear. Here I've got the option to change to a completely different shape, adjust the type of fill from transparent, no fill, or full, change the color, and decide on the border style, solid, dashed, or none. You can also add text to your shape simply by double-clicking in it. To add additional shapes, you've got a couple different options. Of course, you can use the toolbar, or you could click on an existing shape and use Control-D to duplicate. This is going to give you an exact duplication of your shape, including the text, which can be a real time saver. However, you also have the option to use an existing shape to create a new shape with a connector that automatically joins the two. Now, that may have been a little confusing, so here's how that works. Anytime you select a shape, you're going to see these 4 blue dots appear in the cardinal directions. If you hover over them, it's going to turn into a blue arrow. When I click on the blue arrow, it's going to ask me which type of shape I want to add. When I select one, you can see that they've automatically been linked with a connector. Creating shapes that are automatically linked with connectors is particularly useful if you're creating a flowchart, a mind map, or maybe even a timeline. Finally, let's explore the mind map tool. Mind maps are fantastic for visually organizing ideas or breaking down complex topics into smaller components. When you add a mind map to your canvas, it's easy to modify it. Just click on any of the texts to edit it. For example, maybe this is my essay topic. Then you can extend your mind map by adding branches from the main topic or any of the subtopics. Maybe this is point 1, and point 1 has 3 subpoints. In a classroom, this tool could be used for a variety of purposes. Of course, mind maps are great for project planning and brainstorming. Like you see here, we've used it to start to outline an essay, but it's also great for visualizing relationships between different concepts in a subject. For example, you might use a mind map to have your students explore a historical event with branches for causes, key figures, and consequences. Let's move on to the text tool. Simply click on the text icon or press T on your keyboard to start adding text anywhere on your canvas. Once you've added text, click on it to open the customization menu, which is going to allow you to change the font color, style, and formatting. One of the reasons I love FigJam is that you can use it in a more complex way, but it can also be incredibly simple. I can set something similar up with a prompt and have my students responding with sticky notes within a matter of minutes. Now, FigJam also has some text-related features that don't appear in the menu. For example, if I wanted to create a list, I would begin by typing 1, and FigJam will format it as a numbered list, automatically adding the next number when I press Enter. If I want to draw someone's attention to this section of the canvas, I can use the @ symbol followed by their name. This is going to send them an email notification with a screenshot of the area they've been tagged in for quick reference. Next up are sections. Think of sections like the pages you might use in Jamboard or Google Slides, but with a twist. You can create a section to be any size. Creating a section is pretty simple. Select the section tool, then click and drag on the canvas to define the size of your workspace. Once added, you can change the color of your section or rename it by double-clicking on the title. If you'd prefer not to have a title, simply click and delete. Any content that you add to your section is automatically grouped. So instead of having to click and rearrange items one by one, you can simply click on the section and everything in it will move too. When I first started using FigJam, the concept of a limitless whiteboard was, in short, overwhelming, not to mention the thought of managing 30 plus students in it. But after I learned about sections, it changed how I functionally thought about using this platform. I suddenly saw how it was possible to have everything my students might need for a learning cycle in one convenient location for a one-tab learning experience, instead of using what David Curran from FigJam calls the 12-tab tango. Here's an example of what this could look like. This is an activity I created to help introduce faculty and staff in my college to using FigJam. As you can see, I use sections to set up 4 different activities. The first section is set up for collaborative work with everyone working in a shared space. The second for partner work. The third activity, everybody has their own space for independent work. And finally, in the fourth section, we're back to doing collaborative work again. In the classroom, I could use FigJam to package my entire lesson with a section for direct instruction and lesson resources, another section for collaborative class discussion, and then individual subsections for independent practice, all in one place. Another organizational feature FigJam offers is the table. I was really excited about this feature because I'm a bit of a table fanatic. Tables are the answers to just about everything, from organizing content to creating a graphic organizer. In looking through FigJam's templates, I've seen tables used in some really creative ways, such as creating a pro-con debate or as a way to structure student responses to a prompt. To add a table to your canvas, simply click the table icon, then click and drag to add the desired number of rows and columns. If you realize later on that you need more space, no worries, simply click on the blue plus icons that appear on either end of the table. I went ahead and added a little bit of color to our table, so hopefully it's easier to visualize what I'm about to show you. If you want to reorganize or delete, start by clicking on the double line icon to select an entire row or column. Simply press the delete key to remove content, or click and drag to reorganize. To customize your table, highlight the cells that you want to modify, then use the pop-up menu to change the cell color or the text style and formatting. You can further interact with the content in your table by using a highlighter or the stamps. These elements are going to stick to your table, so if you move your table around, these elements will move with it. I specifically mentioned the stamps and the highlighter because not everything will stick to your table. For example, if I were to underline something using the marker tool, when I move my table, that mark doesn't automatically come with it. As an added bonus, if you already have existing data in a spreadsheet like Google Sheets, all you have to do is simply copy and paste, and FigJam will automatically turn it into a table. Now let's dive into how we can add links and media to a FigJam to create an enriched one-tab learning experience. You'll find that adding any kind of media, from videos to GIFs to images, is effortless. For images, all you need to do is copy and paste, or you can drag a file directly onto your canvas. For our example, I'm going to be creating a really quick teacher hub where I can store all of my links and resources for my lessons during the week. So I'm going to begin by copying and pasting this Hello February onto my canvas. Now, another way you can bring in images is by clicking on the More button, coming over to More, and selecting Media. You can then select multiple files at once instead of having to bring them in one at a time. Now, I created these days of the week headers quickly in Canva. Once you've added your image, you can resize it proportionally by simply clicking and dragging from the corners. All right, I simply reordered my days of the week. Now we're going to talk about how we can make some more detailed edits on images. Simply begin by clicking to select your image and click on the crop tool. From here, you can zoom in on an image, reposition it within the frame, rotate it, or even change the aspect ratio or the shape of your image. Finally, you can add a quick border to give it just a little more of a polished look. Now, during the week, we frequently use websites or YouTube videos, and adding one to your canvas is as simple as copying and pasting. When you add a link to your canvas, FigJam will create what's called a card. It's automatically going to snap to the middle of your canvas, but you can easily click and drag to rearrange it. Now, one of my favorite parts of FigJam is that with videos, you can play them without ever having to leave FigJam. You can watch it from within this small window, or you can click to maximize it as well. My jaw hit the floor when I saw this feature because as a teacher, it's nice to have all of your resources in one location. But on top of that, if you were providing a video for students to watch, you don't have to worry about them getting distracted by suggested videos on the side of YouTube, or even the confusion that can come when our students are trying to juggle multiple tabs. Everything is in one location. Now, if you're adding a website link, students are going to have to open that in another window. But instead of displaying text, it creates a preview card with an image, which makes the content more visual and engaging than a simple blue hyperlink. For the website cards, you're going to have the option to display the preview image on the top or on the side. And of course, you can still add links or hyperlinks to any text. Simply highlight your text, then click on the link icon or use the keyboard shortcut Control-K and paste your website URL. You might have noticed that it's underlined the text. I like to also turn the text blue because we've almost been conditioned by this point when we see blue text that's underlined that it's a hyperlink. The goodness doesn't stop there, though. If you are adding a link to a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, or a Google Slide, or even another FigJam, you can open it without ever having to leave your canvas. Let me show you. I've grabbed the link to a Google slide deck, and I'm going to use Control-V to paste it into my canvas. When you see the preview pop up, simply click View, then click the Maximize button. As you can see, I can edit the content in my slide deck while still being in FigJam. For this to work, you're going to need to make sure that your share settings have been set to anyone with the link can view. Then use the copy link button under Share. While we're focused on visual elements, let's jump over to stickers. To access stickers, click on the plus to open the More menu, then click on Stickers. Personally, I think the easiest way to find a sticker is to type keywords into the search field, but you can also scroll down and look at different collections. I particularly love this quick draw because it contains all sorts of fun doodles. Besides adding some flair to your canvas, stickers can actually be a valuable instructional tool. Directional arrows, for example, can be used to help guide students through the path of a canvas. Similarly, pairing stickers with text like a clock beside a deadline or a star besides a key idea can visually reinforce information. This idea is a practical application that's inspired by the dual coding theory to enhance student focus and memory by using visual cues. You could also use stickers as a way to provide feedback on student work. While I'm on the topic of feedback, let's spend some time talking about the variety of ways FigJam gives you to collaborate and engage both asynchronously and in real time. First up is the stamp emote wheel. This tool is all about sharing reactions and giving visual feedback. To bring up the wheel, simply click on the stamp icon or press E on your keyboard. Select a stamp, then click anywhere on the canvas to add it. Stamps stick to any object they touch, so if you move the object around, the stamp is going to come with it. If you want to make a stamp bigger, simply click and hold the stamp and let go when it's the size you want. If you've already placed your stamp, you can adjust the size by clicking and dragging the sides of the blue border. Finally, you can hover over a stamp to see who added it, which is a great way to track contributions. The other half of the stamp wheel contains emotes, and emotes are a great way to give live feedback and promote engagement. To access emotes, you'll click on the stamp icon, then press on the smiley face, or you can simply press the E key twice. Click on your desired emote, then click anywhere on the canvas for a quick burst. For an ongoing stream, simply click and hold. If you haven't used the emote in a little while, FigJam will automatically switch you back to the select tool. As you can see, my emote has disappeared. FigJam also gives you the ability to communicate with others through cursor chat and comments. Cursor chat allows you to communicate with live temporary messages. To activate your cursor chat, make sure nothing's selected on your canvas, then press the / key. Alternatively, you can activate the emote wheel and select the chat bubble icon. Once activated, your chat bubble is anchored to your cursor and is going to follow you around the board. As you can see, my chat bubble just disappeared. It only remains visible for about 5 seconds, but it's a great option for quick communication. Let's move on to comments, which offers a more robust communication option. Comments can be left anywhere on the canvas and will stick to or attach to objects. To leave a comment, press the chat bubble in the toolbar across the top, or simply press C. Then click where you'd like to add your comment. To draw a collaborator's attention to a comment, you can type the @ symbol followed by their name. This will trigger an email to them with a screenshot of the area for quick reference. And don't forget, your comments don't have to just be text-based. You can drop in emojis, images, or even GIFs to add a little fun. If you want to see all of your comments, simply click on the comment icon to bring up the sidebar on the right. Think of this as your comment command center. It includes a search feature and filters to help you sort comments by date, ones that mention you, or unread messages. To see a comment in context, simply click on it, and then you'll be taken directly to its location on the canvas. When you open a comment on your canvas, you have a couple of options. You can click the check mark to resolve or delete the comment. Once a comment has been resolved, it completely disappears as far as I can tell. This option is also available from the command center. If you want to keep a comment visible while you're working, you can click on the arrow icon. This will keep your comment visible in the upper left of your screen while still allowing you to move around and work on your canvas. Finally, if you want to share a direct link to your comment, you can grab that by clicking on the More menu, Copy Link. So cursor chat and comments are clearly powerful collaboration tools, but I'll be honest, using them with students does give me a moment of pause. Currently, these features aren't restricted in any way for students, so I'll be interested to see if this changes in the future. Now, I don't think the answer lies in completely banning these features. After all, our students live in a world that is dominated by instant threaded communication. Honestly, my perspective, incorporating these types of features in our classroom in a thoughtful way is a gateway to authentically teaching digital citizenship. It's providing real-world context for discussions on the importance of being thoughtful and empathetic in our digital interactions while simultaneously allowing us to lead by example. Now, I know FigJam has put together some videos on digital classroom management, which I hope you'll check out. I have a couple thoughts on the topic as well that I want to share later, but right now, I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts and questions about digital classroom management because I want to spend time learning alongside you and from you. Now that we have a handle on the basics for FigJam, let's move to the next critical step, sharing our FigJam files with students. Using an LMS like Google Classroom is going to be the easiest way to streamline this process. If you want to share a file for whole class participation, start by clicking on the purple share button in FigJam and adjust your settings so anyone with the link can edit. Then click Copy Link. Next, you're going to head over to Google Classroom and create an assignment. Attach your FigJam file by clicking the link icon and press Ctrl-V to paste. Once you post the assignment, your students will be able to access and collaborate on the FigJam file by clicking on the link in Google Classroom. Now, you might have noticed that my file says first period. If you teach multiple sections of the same class and you want a unique file that you can go back and reference for each class period, you're going to need a couple of extra steps. You're going to start the same way by creating one FigJam file. Then at the top next to the drop-down arrow, you're going to click Duplicate. Change the title to include the class period or section, for example, second period. Then you would share this unique link with the corresponding class in Google Classroom. Simply go through and repeat for however many class periods you have. If you don't need a unique copy, you can use the same file for every class period by using version history. Version history is going to allow you to save your original as a template, then revert back to the template after each class period. So let's say that this blank version is our original. I'm going to click the drop-down arrow and click Show Version History. I'm then going to click where it says Current Version, and I'm going to type Original or Template and click Save. After each class has completed the activity, I can click on the drop-down arrow, Show Version History, and click on the More options next to my original and say Restore this version. If you want each student to have their own version of a FigJam, you can post a forced copy link in Google Classroom. What this link will do is create a copy of your original when a student opens the link. Immediately after they create a copy, have them copy and paste the URL link back into Google Classroom by clicking Add Link. I didn't change any of the share permissions in FigJam. All I did was simply copy and paste in the link. And as you can see, when I click on my student's work, I'm given view-only access to their copy of the FigJam file. To create a forced copy link, you're going to click on the link in the Omnibox, and you're going to highlight everything from the end through the question mark. Press the / key, then type the word duplicate. Then copy and paste this modified link into Google Classroom just like you would for the whole class assignment. If you want students working in groups, it gets a little trickier because I can think of a couple different ways you could approach this. My first option would be to use the forced copy link approach. I would post a forced copy link in Google Classroom. Then I would assign one student in each group to use the link to make a copy of their file. Once they had a copy, they would then click the share button and invite their group mates. They would then come back and post the link under your work in Google Classroom so that I would have easy access to their work as a teacher. Now, this puts more of the burden on the students, so I probably wouldn't try this method unless I was working with older students. Option number 2 is to duplicate the file for each group. I would begin by, again, clicking the drop-down arrow, duplicating, and creating a file for each of my groups. So this might be the file for group 1. From here, you have 2 different options for getting your files into the hands of your groups. Option number 1 would be to create individual assignments for each group. Let me show you how that works. In Google Classroom, I might title this Group 1 Assignment, paste the link for Group 1, then under All Students, select only the members for Group 1 and post the assignment. I would then repeat this process for the rest of my groups. I'll be honest, creating separate assignments for every single group could be a lot, especially if you teach multiple class periods. For example, I had 6 class periods and I might have 5 groups in each class period. That's 30 assignments I have to post. The other option would be to create a single assignment and simply post the links for each group in the instructions. You're still having to create an individual file for each group, but you're not having to create individual assignments. The last thing we're going to talk about in part 1 is how you can transition your Jamboard files to FigJam. Remember, after December 31st, 2024, Jamboard files will no longer be accessible and all the data from your jams will permanently be deleted. So transferring your jams to FigJam is a great way to preserve all your hard work. Here's how to do it. You're going to head over to figma.com and click on the import button in the top right corner. Click the option to import files from Google Drive. If it's your first time doing this, you'll need to grant FigJam permission to access your drive. To select multiple jams at once, simply hold down the Shift key while selecting the files you want to import. And here's an example of what my jam looks like once it's been brought over. And that's all for part 1. Thanks for joining the Educate community today to learn more about FigJam. Not only does this tool have the power to enrich your teaching, but it's also preparing your students to collaborate in our digital world. If you found this guide helpful, give it a thumbs up, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more EdTech tips and tutorials. Questions or ideas for what you'd like to see next? Drop a comment down below. I'm always looking for new ideas. And on that note, see you next time.